Within the shadows, a stranger moved with pure anger. The last in his path didn't see the danger. Caught up in the slaughter, the torture was major. Murdering people, comforting evil is his nature. Better be ready, better yet, better beware. His strike is deadly. Many men try to prepare, but the cost of having remorse is non-existent. In peace you'll rest unless you keep your distance. Run, but there's no way to escape. You can't hide from hate, no way to deny your fate. Blood splashes in massive masses. Matter of fact, it's hard for mom to scatter your ashes. When he swing his sword, blood pours on the floors, even more than your most violent wars. No law can protect you, he don't respect you. He'll even murder the person you're standing next to. Blood from bodies are painting the pavement, a masterpiece of the deceased made famous. He came with the mind of a man on a mission, made his name flame when many went missing. So listen, you can hear the cries when the wind blows. The breeze of enemies flow through your windows. Pray, because your day will come, and be advised when you see him it's too late to run. Done, death is destined, grab your weapon. What will serve as protection against this legend? Good question, the answer has yet to be revealed, cause the truth froze with those he chose to kill. For real, the man is deadly, hide your head. Those who thought they'll survive, now they're dead. Nobody is off limits, he won't stop till he's finished, and he'll never leave a witness.
Reminiscing on the past, old visions give me answers. Revenge on the enemy, I'm hidden in the shadows. Creep up to my target and hit him when his back show. Pull it out his back slow. Say a prayer and shake the premise, acting casual. A ninja with a black soul, you dealing with assassins. Killing is just natural, it's written in the hand scroll. Dark figures through the black smoke. The executioner, you witnessing the actual scriptures of the night spirit from the catacomb. Yeah, I send him to the afterworld. I keep from the sight of the demon, but the souls from the dungeon keep screaming. I silently approach like smoke on the ceiling. Unsheath it, swing the katana blade through your neck. Choose your death, I got 5 ways. You could die today. Who you trying to play?
I got 5 ways to slice with blades. I'ma slash and stab you, your life will fade. Got 5 ways to slice with blades. I'ma cut you, busted, that's the price you pay. Got 5 ways to slice with blades. I'ma slit you, I'll get you, don't try to escape. Got 5 ways to slice with blades. Created with blade tips, I'll find a way. The samurai, rock a rice hat, sandals tied, ready to slice at whatever with my rambo knife. Stay strapped with that, a katana and kunais. You would think shadow spirits were my companions by the way they stand beside me. The sun was high, I knew an encounter would be likely. My connection with them was highly developed without looking. I sensed two manifesting behind me. Put on my battle face, which is actually straight. Hand on my fattest blade, drew it as I spun backwards. Seen 2 dark spirits emerge from where my shadow lay. In one motion, so fast it looked done slowly. As it was swinging, my katana charged up with particles from the ether. Dissolving one of the shadowy creatures, then I sheathed it. Reached in my coat pocket, grabbed the kunai, ready for tossing. Prey, tossed it inside, lodging the other monster. An on the dot hit, leaving the shadowy beast dissolving. I got 5 ways to slice with blades. I'ma slash and stab you, your life will fade. Got 5 ways to slice with blades. I'ma cut you, busted, that's the price you pay. Got 5 ways to slice with blades. I'ma slit you, I'll get you, don't try to escape. Got 5 ways to slice with blades. Created with blade tips, I'll find a way.
With the samurai posted in the sacred temple, faint whispers from way in the abyss became clearer. We heard voices of stray spirits as they came near us. I must pray and stay fearless, blades glaring.
More than I can count came through the door like it wasn't closed. Formed a circle around us and started shrieking under rugged cloaks. They held hands and mumbled slow spell chants. A couple glowed. I was blinded by a flash of light when I gained back my sight. Before me hovered one humongous ghost.
I once was told stories of this beast that would come to hunt your soul. As at lunch, pulled my nunchucks, charged with 100 volts. Now he's stunned and his energy is running low.
Did a front flip, roll, jumped up, dropping a pellet, puffing smoke. Now's my chance to cut his throat. Holding tight, my blade infused with ultraviolet rays. I sliced once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. I got 5 ways to slice with blades. I'm a slasher, stab you, your life will fade. Got 5 ways to slice with blades. I'ma cut you, busted, that's the price you pay. Got 5 ways to slice with blades. I'ma slit you, I'll get you, don't try to escape. Got 5 ways to slice with blades. Creative with blade tips, I'll find a way.
P.Soul on a track.
Yeah. One time, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Kick the sheet off my feet and get to the grind, and I be on top of these bars like a rooftop at clubs when it's too hot. Inside it's no biggie, nigga, I'm just wondering who shot you if when you try to disturb my work like I'm Tupac. I hit him up and say it ain't no way I'm gonna be stopping this. I'm confident the project is so solid you don't have to know it's dope, cause it's anonymous, symbolic and astonishing. And common, I be preaching, nigga, and be fucking politicking. Problem is I seen it, it's just one and the same. I work my ass off so you back off when I come in the frame. I can never picture myself behind another flame with the Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Son of the game. All in my pen tip, I feel like a cliff with the waves against it. I be persevering all through the rain and the wind. I met with till my metamorphosis make me someone y'all wanna mess with. Hate my image, but know you gon' love my message, nigga. They might miss it, but know that they won't forget it, nigga. I be teaching, no wonder they give you credit, nigga. I be teaching, no wonder they give you credit, nigga. Credit, pay your dues, but remember who you indebted, nigga.
There's always a ton lifting colts when I'm blood. I'm haunted by the ghosts of enemies when I lunge. Impaling guts, you will never see a rust till my swings curl a bar, man, enough ain't enough. There's always a ton lifting colts when I'm blood. I'm haunted by the ghost of enemies when I lunge. Impaling guts, you will never see a rust till my swings grow a bar, man, enough ain't enough. Since a young pocket knife, I was swung at the silent air by an heir in a clan that was damaged beyond repair. I could feel his cold stare, determined for its revenge. Frozen in crimson lens, he killed people that weren't there. Battle simulations, inventing his own opponents, cause nobody matched the lack of sleep he had at any moment. I've grown into a katana with slashes, feel like explosives by challenging my reflection, a lesson taught by exponents. Sharpen a fine edge on the hip of an anxious ronin, he anticipates peril reveals, so I'm exposed and he spoke. Meet your fate, you're all going to die. You should have known better to attack a samurai. Closed his eyes and did his work, it was over in a flash. The fruits of his training from a dark destroyed past. My steel reeks of flash and decay from corpse ash. We're both dedicated to the justice we exact. In fact, it's why I exist. Dialogue through violence, epithets and violence. Enemies all expiring toes in his psyche, expressway to insanity. Driven to a corner to face his reality. The final boss of darkness who joyfully took his family. He wants to cheat time, it echoes in his mind. Avenge his heinous crime before the planets all align. Kill concepts, that's the strength he needs to heal waterworks shed in a fly with the sea. Become a heartless monster to accomplish a deed. Swinging me till you tear a fucking hole in the scene. Okay, now you're feeling the rush. Sensitive to spiritual touch, losing sense of physical love. Don't know when enough is enough. Skin his scalp open, then choke him until he's glowing. Beat him his own blood like a potion brewed from emotion. There's always a ton lifting colts when I'm blood. I'm haunted by the ghosts of enemies when I lunge. Impaling guts, you will never see a rust till my swings curl a bar, man, enough ain't enough. There's always a ton lifting colts when I'm blood. I'm haunted by the ghost of enemies when I lunge. Impaling guts, you will never see a rust till my swings curl a bar, man, enough ain't enough.
Let's go!
Hey yo.
Let's go!
Everybody not in my motherfucking squad.
You know I've got the soul that's blacker than your soul when it hits charcoal. Just a rapper cat who acts his rap straight out of barcodes. It's lots so niggas in this city writing cock yo to get the mini venues, and hoes who write for blogs, but fuck that, cause I'm about to bust back. Reloaded buster rifles right up through that pipe hole with them lies a siphon. Cast disciples on me, then you'll watch them burn within the fire pit. Ignited embers spark within the eye of guy who hired this inquisitor, who just so happens to be my lone visitor. The whippings and the whippings get consistent with the lynchings that were failures to the bitch house, cause I would think of sit outs with Mr. Hodgkinson and grade a fifth when I can get out and socialize. Nowadays I focus on the socialize, from snooping through our godly dynasty and host a scope a ride to the top. That's what we're destined to be. Ain't no tails upon our cloaks, so ain't no help in the dream. Jeez, snitch nigga, I ain't fucking with you. Bitch nigga, I ain't fucking with you. So keep it moving, it's the movement on soul till I motherfucking lose it. Microphone check, 1 2 1 2, nigga. Snitch nigga, I ain't fucking with you. Bitch nigga, I ain't fucking with you. So keep it moving, it's the movement on soul till I motherfucking lose it. Microphone check, 1 2 1 2, nigga.
I hold the world open, run towards the sun, I mold the moon's magic. Loophole the sky, defy the mind's limit, reflecting in the peaks till I find myself in dreams like love, peace, and soul. I hold the world open, run towards the sun, I mold the moon's magic. Loophole the sky, defy the mind's limit, reflecting in the peaks till I find myself in dreams like kamikaze renaissance, running with Buddhist palms. Cautious wisdom got me flowing like an open ocean. Caught me drifting, sipping potions, watching stars in motion. Overdosing on ambrosia, got me over-hopping Ouroboros. My language is traced by inner circles. Inner peace embraced by circular breathing. Skating figure eights to break the rhyme state. My infinite weight of mind shift the spirits and tides, elate my fate and reshape my conscious being. Spoken on celestial bodies and inner meaning. Tangled puppet who sees the strings hanging from me. My poetry growing like trees, you see that coming? So glowing brighter than sun, ain't that something? Spiral towards enlightenment like Master Uguay. King of talking hands, dispersing your whole crew. We found the hues of the moon and tagging young fears like love, peace, and soul. I hold the world open, run towards the sun, I mold the moon's magic. Loophole the sky, defy the mind's limit, reflecting in the peaks till I find myself in dreams like love, peace, and soul. I hold the world open, run towards the sun, I mold the moon's magic. Loophole the sky, defy the mind's limit, reflecting in the peaks till I find myself in dreams like the sun, moon, and stars defining my penmanship. Uymitsu, you're dragging the spell and evil within rhyme. Shift time while liberated minds. I dare fly through skylines lined in lightning. I'm writing my path through book, marking my scripture. Think bigger picture, rip scrolls out the multi-verses, grooving tunes in tune with inner self. My inner health is felt between the frequencies of hearing now. I found the sounds of my soul, basking in this light, the melodies of gold, breaking down the language so I can just decode my goals for those who sold their souls. I've sown the seeds to see through MCs to see copious kind of crews from an obelisk out, shining their glow with my meditative thought. They thought the mind glistened with the monolithic pen of the sun, moon, and stars like love, peace, and soul. I hold the world open, run towards the sun, I mold the moon's magic. Loophole the sky, defy the mind's limit, reflecting in the peaks till I find myself in dreams like love, peace, and soul. I hold the world open, run towards the sun, I mold the moon's magic. Loophole the sky, defy the mind's limit, reflecting in the peaks till I find myself in dreams like.
Yo, we are back once again. This is the Channel 10 podcast. It is I, Singodsuperior. I have Ty Smith, who is an animator for the Samurai Shin comic book series. How you doing, Ty?
I'm doing all right.
Cool. And I know that you work in graphic design and everything like that, but I want to go a bit, I want to take it back a little bit. So, you were based in Connecticut for quite a time, and I'm curious to know how you got involved in art.
Started off, since a youngin' when Ninja Turtles came out, basically the same shit you hear from every other person, getting introduced to that, being with Marvel, getting into all that, reading the comic books, and then just coming up with my own characters and whatnot.
Now, that's interesting because, after finding out a little bit more about you, I was looking into, because, I'm a 90s kid myself. And I was thinking about the different animations and everything like that. So you just said the Ninja Turtles, and when I think about the animation for the Ninja Turtles, I think of it's like a clean kind of an illustration, I should say, a kind of a bright, clean color and just movement all around. And then when I think about the 90s, when it comes to animation in general or animated series, I think about the Batman series from about 92 to about 95. So I say all that to ask you, what were some of the key elements of 90s, illustration and animation that made you interested in the Ninja Turtles and things like that?
All right, so when it comes to the Ninja Turtles, that's my first introduction. But you mentioned Batman the Animated Series, and that was kind of my young studies and shit. Because it's around that time I was, just like everybody else in the anime and whatnot. So I'm watching Ninja Scroll, I'm watching, too young to watch it, but Rocksuka Doji and all them. And, I'm noticing how things are done back in Japan as far as animation and whatnot, and how things are done in America. While I'm watching the animated series for Batman, one of the things I noticed was the clouds or the mist and whatnot. So you have, there's one thing this broken building, and it breaks up, and then the debris goes up and whatnot. The clouds formulate, blah, blah. Now, normally in American animation, that shit just kind of fades off. They just kind of do little fade out of it. But in one episode, they kind of actually animated the whole fading and how the clouds moved and whatnot. And I was like, yo, that's where they put themselves up on that game, where they were like, we need to do better. We need to actually key all of this shit in. So when it came with that, as far as going through there was a progression. So when you watch even, Ninja Turtles, the animated series, whatnot, back in the fucking 90s and whatnot, when you watch the actual episode, you notice that the animation is different from what the intro is. Same thing happened with Thundercats. You watch that Thundercats joint, and fucking the beginning is way fucking more dope than whatever you see in the animation in the actual episode. And when I'm watching that, I'm noticing more so the lines. So let's forget about the color or anything. It's about how it all moves. And that's what really interested me and made me notice and get on point on whatever was going on with there.
So with all that being said, how did you become a part of the Samurai Shin team?
Well, basically I was working on a collaboration project, and I was just doing updates and whatnot. And next thing you know, Frank saw one of the updates, and, he contacted me and was like, yo, you do commissions? I was like, hell yeah. And so it just came from there. So it was just basically putting in the work, just kind of not even needing nobody to tell me to do anything, just me producing stuff and wanting to do things and just putting it out there. And then finally somebody caught notice.
Well, the first thing I did when I prepared for this interview was I looked at, first of all, I thought in my head that you're just an illustrator, but then I'm like, whoa, illustration, animation, two totally different things. And so I've been reading up on different animators and their process and what they do. And of course, there's a lot of, I guess with anything, there's a lot of intention involved. And the thing that you have to do, or what I'm assuming you do just based on my little reading on animation, is that you pretty much take a particular scene that the illustrator, so I guess in this case would probably be Ivan, what they do, and then you're supposed to kind of bring that character to life, bring the background, the scenery, the clouds, as you've said when it comes to certain 90s cartoons. So when you're doing these things and the kind of notes that you do take for for Frank and everything, what's your process like when it comes to getting into like a particular scene that you see, or getting into the psyche of a particular character?
All right. Well, first off is just drawing. Like, basically, when he came to me, like, okay, I got this project, da 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 da. So I had to do my research. So I put it in. So I went out and I got issue 1 and 1.5. And so I got into the characters and I just did my own artwork for it. Like, I just drew it however I draw it. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, I took a look at the scene that he wanted me to do. And then basically I just put it into my own aspect of it. So, I also had to kind of look at how, because they gave me the keyframes for it at first. So I had to kind of see, like, okay, here's how the original person did this keyframe. I need to match it to that, but I need to also bring my own style into it because it needs to be comfortable for me to draw. But as, a budding animator, you need to be able to be diverse. You need to be able to be like, all right, this project needs to hire me for this. This project needs to hire me for that. So if I can't, split up myself, then, it is what it is. So from there, basically, I just did a whole bunch of drawing, whole bunch of sketching, getting myself into the character, getting myself into, how, everything, the lines, character, feelings, emotion, whatnot. I got the page that they want to do the scene for, and I just went from there.
Now, how do you get into a character? Like, are there certain things that you look at in the scene that just strikes you or something like that?
Kind of the scene. Also, you take a look at the design of it. So if the main character they wanted me to do was Bareface. So while I'm reading the issues and whatnot, I see how brutal he is and how he just comes up behind some dude and just stabs him like he doesn't give a fuck. So I'm just like, all right, that's this type of character. So mainly what I'm doing right now is a 30-second spot where he's just kind of doing this menacing walk. So for me, I was like, all right, he's got to have a walk that means something, so when I'm doing the animation, I'm focusing on the steps. I'm like, all right, it needs even though he's walking slow, it needs to feel like he's pounding the ground. And I have to try and emphasize that, with a slow walk, because he ain't stomping, he ain't doing nothing. He's just walking around this dude. So I gotta be like, all right, I gotta make that walk, but how can I make it feel like he's about to fucking hurt somebody?
With that, there are all different kinds of software and equipment involved in all this. So I know that you use Clip Studio Paint, right? If I'm correct. Yeah. And so, all right, so you use that, but are there certain other kinds of technology or methods or whatever like that that you do to emphasize something like a menacing walk or anything like that?
Well, as far as first off, when you talk about the programs and whatnot, I use a mixture of both. Like for some portions of it, I'll do it on the computer, especially when it comes to the sketching part, because I'm just trying to get it down. Once it's down, I want to get really deep into it. Pencil and paper is always the way to go. I mean, you can do it quicker when you're doing it on the computer, that's no doubt. But the thing is, it isn't always going to give you that same feeling. If you're drawing and everything's going good, and you're doing the animation, everything's working out fine, but at some point, it's like, yeah, this ain't working. Like, I'm drawing it over and over and over, and I'm just not hitting it. Fuck it. I'll just print that shit out, do it on paper, and fucking do it from there, and then it'll just feel much better. And even that may not work. Something else might work where it's like, all right, I need to take a break and whatnot. So first off, when it comes to producing it or doing it all together, it's a mixture between on paper and, with the digital. Now, as far as getting a minutes and walk, basically it's just research. Just whatever you can think of, go on to Google, look for walks. I even recorded myself doing a bunch of walks and whatnot just to see how I can get it. It doesn't have to be exact. Animation isn't real life. And even when you do animation towards real life, if you're not going for that particular effect, you got to add something to it. You got to add a bit of style. You got to add a little bit of flavor to it and whatnot, because you got to kind of exaggerate it. Once you do that, then you'll find out, oh shit, that's exactly what I was looking for. And there's nothing to like what you recorded, whether you recorded yourself walking, or whether you looked on YouTube for a bunch of people walking and whatnot. It may look nothing like that. But the point is, you did that research to get the idea of how it's supposed to look, and then you just break the rules.
Now, just based on your artwork in general and some of the things that I've seen, you do on Samurai Shin and some of your animations, your style tends to be rather, I would say, dark when it comes to scenery, and then your characters seem a bit complex based on their, facial expressions, and everything like that. So, was that the main reason why Frank sought you out as an animator? Because thinking about it and remembering the first issue that I read of Samurai Shin, you really fit within like the general aesthetic of Samurai Shin and what it's supposed to be.
For me, I would say it's a mixture of me putting in the work as well as the style that I have going on, because obviously, I come from the Ninja Turtles, going into that, then moving on into, Batman animated series, but also having that major influence of anime and manga and whatnot. So with me having all that, it basically just fits in with the group because that's where all their influences come from. So once it got started and they hit me up, it was like, okay, we got this book. It's influenced by Samurai Champloo. It's influenced by Afro Samurai. It's influenced by Sword of the Stranger. I'm like, that's all my shit. Like, I know exactly what you're going for. So.
Now, what's one thing that people don't understand about animation or illustration?
As far as for illustration goes, I don't think they understand all the work that goes through it. A lot of people see an image. If there's somebody who does illustration, they like to draw. They'll do that all day, every day. And people see that. They're like, oh, this motherfucker draw. Okay, that's it. He's got another image coming out every day or every other day and whatnot. And they don't understand it's just easy. But, whatever they see is just easy. But what they don't understand is that image that you saw is probably in the works for like 2-3 months. I just posted it yesterday because I just finished it. But I also had another one going on at the same time. So when I post out another one, that one took 2-3 months. So these are all things that were in the works and I just got them completed. So when it comes to illustration, it's all the thought process that goes into it, because you have to think about the composition, how it's going to fit on the page. Is it going to look aesthetically pleasing? Motherfuckers think just because I draw Harley Quinn and put her up on there, that all I'm thinking of is just drawing some chick and putting her in the middle of the paper. No, I'm trying to think about the colors. I'm trying to think about everything that's going on. Like, I got a one Harley Quinn image, never really drew her that much before, but I knew at the time that I did that, Suicide Squad was coming out. So I had to incorporate all those colors in there. There's a lot of thought process that goes in. When it comes to animation, what I don't think people understand is how long and tedious it really takes. I've been hit up quite a few times for people to be like, can you do this animation for me? And I give them my price and they're like, yo, what's up with that? And I'm like, dude, it's 24 frames per second. That's 24 pictures that I got to draw for every second that damn thing's on screen. That's a lot of work. All right. So if I cut it down and try and, cut corners, you want to go to 12 frames per second. You can still get a decent animation out of 12 frames per second. But at the same time, there are certain points where you still need to draw 24 due to the fact of how it's moving. All right. Mm-hmm. The one I'm doing for like 30 seconds, I got to do pretty much just about every single frame. There's hardly places where I can really cut corners unless I'm doing it and I'm in the middle of it. I'm like, all right, I can hold this frame for 2 frames and whatnot. So yeah, with animation, they just don't realize beforehand until you school them in how long it actually really takes and how many drawings that you have to do over and over. And every little piece of drawing is moving just a little bit. It's not like it's going from hand up high in the air to down by the waist. Like, you got to put all that stuff in the middle.
And, with all this artwork between animation and illustration, how does it feel to be paid for your art?
When you get paid to do anything, it's freaking amazing because, then the title means something. I could say all day that I'm an animator. I could say all day I'm an illustrator. But where I come from with illustration and design is because I got paid for it. You know, I go to these conventions, I'm selling prints, I'm selling images, and doing, you know, commissions and whatnot right on the spot where people's like, draw me this, draw me that. All right, cool. I'm fucking animator, or I'm sorry, illustrator, because I'm getting paid for that shit. But when it comes to the, you know, animation, it was like hardly ever was a time where somebody really want to put in the money for that. You know, and then when finally Frank comes through and he's like, yo, I'll pay you this much to this, you know, you want to do it? I'm like, hell yeah. Boom. That title really means something now.
Now, we have Frank Flor on today's episode, one of the animators of Samurai Shin. How you doing, Frank?
I'm doing great. Surviving the hurricane, but doing great.
Good, man. Good. Glad to hear that. How did you become a part of the Samurai Shin team?
Well, I reached out to Mikal because I saw that he had this really cool project going on, and I really wanted to be a part of it. And I hadn't been a part of a project in a while. The last project I was a part of was Studio Izuni's Missy Chronexia in the 8 Seals. And, you know, I really wanted to do something less fairy tale and something more related to Asian culture and, you know, the samurai genre I've always loved. So it really appealed to me. And I love, you know, where the inspiration comes from, Afro Samurai. And, you know, the music is just so cool. So being part of this project was, you know, a no-brainer for me.
How did you get interested in art in general?
Wow, I must have been in the 2nd grade when I started drawing Dragon Ball Z, and that was like my obsession. And I started drawing anime, and then, you know, I was like, I want to, you know, tell stories. I want to be able to make my own characters and put them in these, you know, scenarios, and, you know, so I started doing my own animations, and I would use like Adobe software to animate and to kind of just create these stories and share them with my friends. And, you know, it took off from there, really.
Mm-hmm. Now, so you said that your obsession was kind of like, you know, Dragon Ball Z and everything like that. And, you know, looking you and Antonio, one of the other animators of Samurai Shin, I know that his favorite anime of all time is Fooly Cooly, and you seem like a big Naruto fan. So, if I'm correct, so what is it about? Because, you know, now I had Ty Smith on, who was another animator of Samurai Shin, and you know, he like what drew him into animation and art in general was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie from like back in the 90s. And I'm curious to know what is it about Naruto, the animation, the art overall, and what is it about, or what was it about Dragon Ball Z that just drew you into this, you know, world of animation and of art in general?
Well, for Dragon Ball Z at least, it was, you know, having these characters supercharge themselves to defeat these like crazy enemies or these aliens, really. And, you know, there was always like that next level that they could, you know, surpass. So I always just love to look up to those kind of characters and kind of just like, you know, see what I could surpass in my own life, you know, whether it was like, you know, real or not, you know, it just was really cool to kind of see them as like a role model in some sort of crazy way. And for Naruto, that show, as corny as it can be, it had some really good animation, and I think everybody knows it as Sakuga. And, you know, it inspired me so much to animate, like animators like Norio Matsumoto, and just, you know, it inspired me. So I started creating my own Sakuga animations, and from there, you know, it was history. It's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Okay, now for the audience, explain that word that you just said, that this style of animation that you're recalling.
Sakuga, you mean?
Okay, and what is that exactly? Like, what kind of genre is that?
I wouldn't say it's a genre. It's more of a type of animation where an artist can have creative freedom one artist really can have creative freedom in a scene and just, you know, really go ham and like, you know, go above and beyond and just like really make the characters fluid and just, you know, it's unreal. And you have to see it for yourself. Look up Sakuga and just, you'll be amazed.
What's interesting about you, Antonio, and Ty is that, at least based on what I can tell just from looking you guys up and having the chance to talk to Ty and to talk to you now, it seems like, you know, I mean, I guess it's generally all in the same place, you know, you guys' influences, but they kind of come from specific, you know, specific styles per se. I would, if I had to gather. So, you know, Antonio is fully coolly, you know, kind of really experimental anime and everything like that. You between Dragon Ball Z and Naruto, and then you have Ty, who's maybe more influenced by American style. So like, you know, early 90s kind of like, you know, dark Batman and, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and everything like that. And I think overall, you know, just between like the, you know, like the animation that, or not, I guess not the animation, but like the illustration and some of the animation that I have seen from Samurai Shin so far, you guys kind of meld together and like all these elements kind of fit into this, you know, into what Samurai Shin, you know, stands for in many respects.
It's been a really cool experiment, if you can call it that, you know, just getting our styles together and kind of forming a cohesive, you know, art direction. So it's been really fun and a fun challenge, I would say, to work together and, you know, come up with this this feeling, you know, of this style of animation.
Yeah, and you know I can only imagine the difficult part of, you know, animation is that you have to kind of take the illustrations and you know, just, you know, bring them to life. And you know, with that said, what is it that all three of you guys do? Like, do you guys have specific things that you guys do on the animation side of things for this project?
Well, I guess you can say we will split it up, you know, just like in normal animes, each animator has their own scene, or they can work together with other artists. So we are dividing up each scene with each other and sharing the timeline with each other. So we're really working together, hands-on, throughout the whole thing.
I can imagine that, you know, doing this is like really difficult because you really have to try to get the scenery, like the feelings that, you know, from all these illustrations. So for you, what is the hardest part about animation, and what is it that you think people don't really understand about animation when they see it, you know, on TV or anything like that?
Well, you know, when people see it in the final form, they're just seeing it as it is, but they don't realize that somebody has to draw 24 different images to make a second. And there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes that people don't understand or even know about. So it's kind of overlooked. But for those that do like animation and are interested in it, I feel like they can have a much more appreciation for it because they know the work that goes into it.
So you know, you also have other side projects, right? You have Studio F2, and you are working on a movie project, right?
That's right. I'm actually graduating from New World School of the Arts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fine arts school in downtown Miami, but I am studying film. So I'm organizing a student film about 10 minutes long, and it's going to take about a year to make, but I'm really excited to get started on that. And right now I'm writing the script and getting everything together, all my assets and my actors. So besides that, I got Studio F2, which I've subcontracted under an advertising agency. So I'm doing a lot of video editing and a lot of animation and graphics for them. And, you know, besides that, you know, I've wanted to do more animated related projects. So that's why I joined with Ty and Antonio and Mikal. So it's been a great opportunity for all of us, I think.
Is there anything from film that you apply to animation?
Oh, yeah. Storytelling and storyboarding and just, you know, how you can visualize a feeling is so important, and whether it's with film or animation, it works all the same. So, and it's really just about taking an idea or a story or a feeling or an emotion and visually articulating that to the audience. And there's so many ways you can go about doing that it's, for me, it's so much fun, and I get so much out of it.
Can you describe a particular scene that you guys are working on right now for the Samurai Shin project?
Right now we're working on a scene from the 1.5 comic book, and Ty was actually doing some walk cycles of one of the characters, and I don't want to give too much information, but it looks like the main character is kind of going through some struggle, and it looks like, I don't want to give too much information, but because it's better if you read the comic. The comic is great. Everyone should take a look at it. The art is amazing, and it's online available. So, but we have this scene that we're working on. It's like a burned down village, and we have the two main characters who have this deep feud and this passion of fighting each other, and they're on a standoff, and our protagonist is literally on the floor, and it seems like he's about to die. So there's a little bit of suspense going on here, and I think whoever sees it will just want to keep reading and watching, of course.
Now, in closing, describe Samurai Shin in one sentence.
In one sentence, I would say it's about two samurai who have this feud and this constant battle with each other, and they both won't stop until they get what they want. And one may go through great lengths to protect the one he loves, to defend everyone against this other character, but this other character, this antagonist, he's cruel. He has no mercy. So I think everybody will be fearful of this guy.